Alright, another day. Didn't come down here with the intention of doing a whole lot. Just wanted to get these fenders off. My dad is going to Georgia tomorrow. Found a guy down there who's got both front fenders and both driver's side doors for sale for a decent price, rust free. So hopefully you can get those picked up without issue. Haven't done anything else on the back yet, just cleaned up some tools. I got some parts for that coming. Got that cab corner kind of mocked up in place. Replace the whole thing there, no big deal. I do have some interior structure work to do along here. You can see down through here, all this inner structure is gone. So I think what we're going to end up doing here, get the stupid wire out of the way. I think what we're going to end up doing here is extending from this edge of the cab corner. Turn the light on. Extend from this edge of the cab corner over to here, and then extend from this sharp edge here down and fill this whole gap in. So that'll be all nice and new steel there. Poked around at this rocker panel. It's actually in pretty decent shape. It's a little bit more scale up here, but it's still solid underneath. Got up here to this corner. Daisy, get out of the way. Come on. Got up here to the very front edge, and there's already a hole there. But looking at it, it's not terrible. And I do have brand new steel there. So we'll cut a piece out of that, patch that in. Got the front fender on the driver's side off. I was told that it was going to be the more difficult one, but it actually wasn't too bad. Up in here, got all the bolts along the top rail, 2 of them here, which is the fender support. 1 down here in this corner, 1 right there on that tab. The brackets for the brake. No, that's not brakes. That's I don't know, whatever the hell that is. Can't think right now. The bracketry for that has got bolts in it. There's a metering block for all the grounding going to the fender there. The battery tray. I opted not to take the vacuum pump off of it. I left everything hooked up to it, so when I'm ready to put the new fender on, I should just be able to kind of hold this up here, slide the new fender in, and call it good. While I have the fender off, I'm going to go down here to the frame. Obviously I'm not pulling the engine out of this truck, and I'm not pulling a cab off of it. So I'm going to clean up the little bit of scale that I can with a little hand wire brush. I'll paint. I'll neutralize the rust that's there after I'm done wire brushing, and kind of just paint this with some like rubberized undercoating. It looks a lot worse in the picture than it really is. Up on the frame, I'll get all that prettied up. Make it look nice. The bumper support on this side's rusty, but there. Core support's okay. A little bit there, starting to get that cleaned up and neutralized so it doesn't get any worse. Up here is fine. Core support's okay. I do have some work to do on the engine. Need a new oil cap. I'm going to pull the valve cover off, clean it up, and paint it. Probably do the same thing with the turbos, or with the turbo, oil change, all that stuff. Get that all cleaned up. The passenger side was actually more difficult to get off than the driver's side. It's the same bolts along the rails up top, the same bolts on the core support up here, the same bolt on that lower tab back here, and the same bolt on the bottom. Dodge, in their infinite wisdom, has all these wires here. We got wiring for the headlights and the tail, or the marker lights. We got wiring for the horns. We got wiring for. This is the one that was the real pain. They wrap this thing around the damn battery box, and they go up here by the shock support, the shock tower, and I'm pretty sure this is a temp sensor. So that has to be there. They just routed it really goofy to get to it. Had to move the AC lines up out of the way, no big deal. So yeah, fender's off on this side, both batteries are out of it. pain in the neck that was. As far as the body work on this side, I'm not sure. The guy I'm getting the doors for from the other side says that the ones he's got for the passenger are pretty cracked up. But I guess we'll see how that pans out. Probably better if I do it this way, huh? If the bottoms of them are okay, I think I can salvage the front door here. If I can get the support underneath of it, I should be able to salvage that. But the back door's junk, so hopefully I can find myself a back door for this side. The cab corner over here is gone. I gotta drill and get rid of the little patch panel I put on there just to get it through an inspection last year. Already talking about paint work. Gotta get all the body work done. The bed's still sitting over there. Still haven't done anything with it. Once I get the back completely buttoned up and back on the wheels, I'll wheel it back out front and I can move the bed out and start working on it. Leave the factory hood on it, leave the factory bumper, leave the factory grill, leave all that stuff. I just want to get it all cleaned up and painted. Get rid of that sticker. Fog lights I'll replace with new shiny stuff. Airbox is going to stay factory. All the running gear is going to stay factory. I'm not doing any performance add-ons this year. At least nothing. Yeah, no performance stuff. I do have all the stuff to change the oil. I have the stuff to change an air filter. I have a brand new ISPRO fuel pressure gauge since I'm not doing a fast system or another fuel system. I'm going to do the single pillar pod, gauge pod here on top of the column for fuel pressure to the VP. And then later on I'll do the pillar pod with your EGT, your boost, and your trans temp and stuff. As far as the back end is concerned, I have a few little loose ends to tie up here. The wiring going down to the ABS sensor is kind of frayed and gross. I'll cut that off and rewrap it with new stuff. I got to get a new fuel filler neck. Mine is rusty and leaky. The spare tire tube, the little bar that goes back to lower and raise the spare tire, needs a little of attention, not a big deal. Talked to Dad. He said that he would look at getting some paint. So I told him that if he was going to look at getting the paint, I wanted him to do the design of the paint too. I'm going to stay pretty simple with it. Probably a gunmetal gray on the bottom, down from probably this body line here, or maybe here, probably here. Down will all be gunmetal gray, and then up here will all be brand new white. So here down, gray, here up, bright white. That way it stays the white truck, capital T, capital W, capital T, but it's also not as bland and boring as factory fleet white. So, tires I'm going to have to leave alone for right now. I kind of ran out of money. So hopefully they'll get past inspection. They still have a pretty fair amount of tread. Those are the fronts, they're the worst too. The rears are back here. Those are good. A little bit of weather checking, but as much road use as this thing's going to see, it'll be fine. I'm still not completely decided what I'm going to do with the exhaust. Right now it's just this intermediate pipe. I'm debating on whether or not I want to turn it 90 and take a single stack up through the bed, or put the factory junk back on and just put a nice tip. The exhaust system itself is kind of in pieces. Part of it's back here, part of it's laying over there. You can see how rusty and crusty it is. And the factory muffler's in there. There's the rocker or the cab corner for the other side, rocker panel for the passenger side. Obviously I'm not going to use the whole thing, but I'll use pieces of it. Bumper's straight. Bed, I got bed patch panels there, over there. Hard to see, but they're there. So the big main concern push right now is going to be body work. And then as soon as all the body work's done, we'll get it painted and start reassembly. I'll get the new fenders and doors and stuff put on it before paint. Get the cab corners and the rocker panels filled in, get all the body work stuff done, get the bed done. And then we'll just mask it all off, paint it, do a single stage acrylic urethane, maybe with some sort of pinstripe between the gray and the white to break it up. Still not sure how I want to play this game. That's a pretty normal problem on these trucks, the vinyl that goes between the front window and the back window. Apologize for how filthy this thing is, but I don't know if maybe when I go to paint this thing, if I'll mask all that stuff off and paint it black, or if I'll just have a new vinyl put on, or just leave it white. I might just leave it white. I don't know. Tint the windows black. Yeah, just tying up loose ends. Gonna get new bed bolts. I gotta get the bed grounding strap put back on somewhere in that neighborhood in that shot. My wife, Kristen, is going to, she said she wants to pull the seats out of it and scrub the carpets and all that, which it could use, there's no doubt. I mean, they vacuum out okay, but they're still not pretty by any means. So let her do that. Clean up all the upholstery. It being leather, it's actually in pretty decent shape, so it's not too bad. The floors are kind of grody, but that's not to be unexpected for a 200,000-mile-year-old, 18-year-old truck. Center console's got some dings and scratches. The grill, or the dash, really isn't too bad. I mean, it's got some cracks starting, and I know that if I were to ever put a heater core in this truck, the dash would probably just shatter, because that's a second-gen thing. Surprise, surprise. I'm going to put a stereo in it. It's got the factory head unit now. I'll put a Pioneer or an Alpine or something in there, some new door speakers, and call it good enough. Because by the time I get the weather stripping replaced and the new doors on it, it should seal up a lot better. Then I'll be able to hear the radio. When I get the new doors, I'm going to have to transpose all the door panels, and hopefully, I didn't get the info from the guy, but hopefully the ones I'm buying are at least power, so I don't have to change all the regulators and actuators and all that bric-a-brac. I guess we'll see when they get here. They'll be back next week at some point. He's leaving in the morning, and he won't be back till, I don't know, next Monday, which will be the, what? Tomorrow's the 13th of March, 12th of March. I don't know what the hell's today. Anyway, it's right around the 12th, 13th of March. He'll be back 18th. So we can get that buttoned up. Hopefully the next month or so we get this thing rolling under its own power again. Starting to look like a truck again. Right now it's a freaking disaster. But anyway, that's the update. Here's my faithful sidekick. Daisy girl, say hi. Hi, baby. Hey, sit. She's a good girl. Yes, she is. Alright, till next time.